This is Modern Mindset, the show where we discuss the psychology and emotions of finance and business. I'm your host, Adam Cox, and joining me today is Ionut Iulian, an author of a brand new book that's being released very soon, which is Live, Love, Dream. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for having me here.
So, Ionut, tell us about your background, because it wasn't easy for you. Tell us a bit about your story and the inspiration for your book.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't easy, you're right. My background started in Romania. Born in Romania, grew up in Romania. Overcome difficulties since I was a child, as we had to struggle in my childhood, as my father was an alcoholic, so we had to struggle, overcome difficulties like poverty and social integration. And that was fun until the age of 10, when I had to drop out of school to start to work, to provide food for my younger sister and for my family. That was the big event in my life. They created an impact and actually matured me straight away, because they gave me a responsibility to actually be the only earner in my family. So that was the biggest, event that hit me when I was 10 years old.
Not just, a responsibility, but a big responsibility at a very young age. I mean, how did you cope with that?
Yeah, well, I started crying in the first moment. My mom would say, you can't go anymore to school, you have to go to work, as your father doesn't bring money home. So, because I had a younger sister as well, and I say, okay, I sacrificed myself. At that point in my life, I didn't know what I'm doing exactly. I was pushed, more than a choice. It wasn't a choice. So I think in life, there are things that you can change, and there are things that you have to accept it. So for me, that time, I had to accept it. That was a must. I had to do it. So that's why that was 10 years old. And later on, I understood what happened and how much it damaged me, my self-esteem and everything, because I wanted to go to school and have friends and, at that age. But then another event comes later on, when something even bigger happened. So that in that point, I started crying in the first time. But then, as I said, it wasn't my choice. So I had to do it. I was pushing to do it.
So it was a life-changing event. And actually through that, you kind of learnt a few different things to help you grow up and kind of be ready for the world.
That's true. It helps me to grow up, as you say, and be ready for the world, and most to actually see the life from a different perspective of just being here for studying, finish university, getting a job, and then whatever comes next. So that event and then those that come after helping me to understand that there is a meaning in this life. And we're born for something else, more than having a job and having a family. And then I discovered this through, as you say, through life experience, to the biggest events that I had in my life that wasn't easy, but actually taught me a life lesson.
And what were the other lessons that you learned at that time? Because, most people, when they become a breadwinner, when they have responsibilities of having to pay bills and stuff, is normally when they reach adulthood. At that point, they've had a long time to find out who they are, what their skills are, be in a position to actually earn an income. What lessons did you take from what must have been a very pressured, stressful time?
First and foremost, the age. Actually, the first lesson was discipline, because you have to go to work to be at work in time. So that was the biggest lesson I learned. I remember being running late all the time. 9 o'clock I start to work, then finish at 5. But I was a factory. So you work with animals, so you need to feed them. So that I learned so much how to be in time, to be disciplined at a very young age. I learned how to be disciplined. And that helping me on the way, on my journey as well, how to be a disciplined person, how to show up in time, how to actually do your work, your task, what you have to do. So that will with the people that I worked, they taught me so much. So I actually transferred from them. I learned from them. I actually kind of copy their behavior, what they did, and I used to do the same. And then until 3 years, I've done this for almost 3 years, since 2004, when my parents decided to leave. So they left us behind, actually. They abandoned us.
Wow.
So then from there started a different journey, even hardest.
Well, I mean, it sounds, and talk about, a hard road. So you have to be the provider for the family at 10 years old. And then how old were you when then suddenly you were abandoned?
I was 14.
14.
And at the age of 14, and my sister at that time was 12.
Mm.
Yeah, was I would say middle age, but then still you in that process of developing yourself. So I think there's an age in your life where you really need your parents, both of them. So we haven't, and that happened. This came the biggest time of my life was 17th December 2004, just before Christmas they left.
Wow.
And remember, we are so poor. We are the poorest family in the village. So we had no electricity, nothing to warm up, and no food. And for nearly 3 months, we had to survive, me and my younger sister, looking in the bins, homeless, ask for food, neighbors. And that was a time that we learned how to survive. And I think that time, I was born again in my mind. And I actually became a new person because I had to do something to survive. So if you don't, you're going to die. So I had even 3-4 days with no food. So you get in delivery stuff, you start to do your stupid things because it's about living or die. And in fact, the first chapter of my book is live or die. And I learned so much in that 3 months. And then my neighbors find out and they called the authorities and child support and childcare, and they came and actually bring us and put us into the orphanage. So then we grew up until the age of 18 in the orphanage. Both of us, me and my younger sister.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure that's going to bring its own set of kind of challenges and work in that kind of environment. But what really got me is your sense of positivity and also empowerment, that you realize that things will happen, but we still have an element of choice as to what we do when these things happen.
It's true. I understood that we have that power of choice. And I think that it calls, some of them, they say, is a willpower. We born with that power. And if you choose it or not, it's down to you. But we have it. So this is my mission today. This is my job nowadays, to empower, to educate, to inspire young adults to live a better life, to believe in themselves, to fight for their dreams, and to live life with passion. This is the willpower. We have that choice, and I believe that we have to choose, as I say, to die or to live, but not to survive. Because I learned how to survive, but now I choose to live my life at the fullest.
So tell me the difference then, because for a lot of people, living and surviving are pretty much, they mean the same thing. How do they mean different things to you? What's surviving and what's really living?
I like that point of view, because Oscar Wilde says that most difficult thing in this world is to live. Most people simply exist. So if you're waking up and you do your job that you don't like, and you live your life that you're not happy with, and you're waking up today and you're not grateful for this day, in my opinion, you're not living your life. And if you didn't find your passion yet, and you're not aware about your talent and your capacity and your strength and your power, and if you didn't find yet the reason why you're here and where you come from, where you're going to go, in my opinion, you're not living your life, you're surviving. You simply exist.
And how do people go from a state of existence and routine? And, there was a time in my life, and when I read your book, there were certain things that, although very different childhoods, and I don't know how I would have coped in a situation like where having to be a breadwinner at 10 and then, abandoned at 14. But there was a time in my life where I was on autopilot, doing the minimum, kind of coasting and things like that. And it does reach a point where there's a sense of immense dissatisfaction. Like, is this all there is? And what it comes down to really is a choice. It's kind of like you have to kind of leave that old you behind and really kind of focus on what it is you really want to do. Tell me about how you came to make that decision and leave existing behind and really start living.
It took me, I think, nearly 7 years to understand that. And I believe that by myself, I wouldn't be able to do it, even if to come back to what you said and the time you had in your life, I think the main point is that the moment you actually waking up is when you start to raise questions, when you put yourself in questions, and then when you ask questions about yourself, about your life, about your existence, if there is something more over what's going on. And of course, as you say, this when you're not, we're frustrated with our life and we're not happy with what we live at the moment. And now I was in my 17th, I was still in an orphanage, and I was in a high school, and I started a psychological module, like it was a course in high school that really helped me a lot to understand why my parents left, as I used to live as a victim. As I say, I wasn't happy and I was frustrated and I felt broke heart because I think my parents don't love me. They left me behind. So, but then later on, when I started reading, the reading saved my life. I understood actually their behavior. There was their own choice to leave us behind. So it wasn't my fault. So I started to actually feel better, and I started to read more to find answer to my questions and to start to educate myself. Here is the thing that I think is self-education is the worth living, is the best thing that we can do, regardless your how to say educational system, like university, high school, degree, post-degree, master, whatever. When you start to self-educate yourself, I mean to start to learn about yourself as a person, an individual, to discover your personality, your character, your talents, your values, your beliefs. When you start to work on this, then you level up. In my opinion, then you wake up. Then you start to live your life. When you understand who you are and why you are here. It took me more than, I say, nearly 7 years. And I'm repeating myself saying that I wouldn't do by myself. I met my mentor when I was 22. I was a master's degree at the time. And I told him my story, and he said, you will have millions of people life to transform their life for better. I say, why? He said, you have a story that will wake them up. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, I will take you on a journey. So he was my first mentor. They helped me actually to learn how to become a coach, to coach myself first. I did self-coaching. Then how to become a speaker, public speaking, the fear I was so scared about speaking in public. Then, of course, to become a coach and a trainer. So that he taught me skills. So now that's what I'm doing now. I'm an inspirational speaker and life coach, and I help a lot with the minds and I open their hearts. So I believe that we need to. That's what my book is all about. Open your heart, train your mind, and feed your spirits to feel alive.
Yeah. So give us some practical tips, because as you quite rightly said, you know, and I'm always kind of impressed by coaches or experts that walk their talk, because there's a lot of people that I think are regurgitating other people's content, other people's information, and they haven't really lived it. They're not living their message. You coached yourself. What kind of things did you have to do to yourself to take you from that broken victim to someone that was actually back in charge of your life?
I think it's a power of habit, the first thing that change your life. And as you say, most of them, they preach, they don't live what they preach. And this is very dangerous. And most of them, there are so many coaches out there that just read a book and they're a coach, or they do the course, they're coaches. But those that make a difference are those that learn from their own mistakes and practice, they live what they say, which is important. And I started doing exercising every single day. And I have to say that I started to keep a journal. So I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I started having a journal, writing every single day. And writing every single day, writing daily, it helps to connect your mind with your heart, and it helps to empty your mind as well, in the same time your words, your thoughts. It helps to understand how you feel, and you become you are in the present moment, writing daily. I think it's one of the best habits I learned myself. This is one that takes me out of all my thoughts. Thoughts are very important, and our mind is a very powerful tool. If you're not aware about your thoughts, it's very dangerous. You can go in a place that you may not coming back by yourself, depression or something even worse. So that was the first thing that I learned. I do it myself, and I inspire others to do is writing daily, having a journal. Yeah. The second one is reading daily. You have to commit with yourself. And I think if you love yourself enough, if you respect yourself enough, if you understand the meaning of your life, you will read daily. Because it's like food for your mind. It's the same with the food for your body. And I think we have to be very careful what we put in, because it's what we get out. So it's reading daily, writing daily, and of course, work on myself to develop that positive attitude, Adam, even not only when things go right, mostly when things go wrong, in a negative situation. If you train your mind enough to be and stay positive in a negative situation, it'll make a huge impact in your life. And actually the outcome will be different. This is the difference between people that actually live life as a victim and they live the same life over and over again, years and years, and those that actually want to shift and do something else with their life. These are, I think, are the main ones, the most important ones. Of course, there are so many, but this meditation as well. It's very important to come down to yourself, to reconnect with yourself, to switch off in a way, if I want to say that, and do whatever you like to practice. Yeah,
that's
even
it.
Stay
Kind
in
of
silence.
reconnect. And you know what really strikes me? It comes through. It came through your book. It's come through actually speaking to you. You are a man that has lots of energy and passion. You know, you have a story that I think would have broken a lot of people and left them helpless and angry with the world. But you're a very positive person. You've got lots of passion. How can people find their passion if they don't really feel that way currently?
Finding your passion is the most important thing in life, because if you don't live life with passion, there is no way of living your life, in my opinion. And I started to live my life with passion after my 20s. And how they can find it is working on themselves to understand who they are, what they want to do, and why they are here. And in my opinion, is everything starting from working on your value systems, to understand what's important for you as a human being in this world. And then the second one is value system, what you believe in, and then comes to the passion, what you like to do, what you're passionate about. Yeah. And then of course, if you can, not always, if you can make a living from your passion, this is the difference. And you can be passionate about something, but doesn't necessarily need to be a living. But if you do that, I think is the best thing that can happen. How they can do it, there are different seminars, there are different courses, there are different books out there. That's why one of the reasons I wrote the book is I believe we need a mentor, we need an inspiration, we need a coach, we need someone to inspire us to understand how brilliant we are and how many things we can do and we can achieve in this life. But I think it's an exercise very beautiful in my book that will help them actually to sit down and write 10 things. We can 50, 10, 1, what you like and how you can practice it every single day. Because being passionate about something and not doing it is one thing, but being passionate about something and doing often, doing every day, create a habit.
Well, it's like a muscle, isn't it? It's kind of like it requires discipline, and that key skill that you learned very early in your life, I think, is such an important thing to do, because there's a lot of people that buy into this kind of dream of, and your book, you know, Live, Love, Dream. What's evident about your kind of approach is that it's not enough just to dream it. You have to do it as well. And I think, you know, with things like law of attraction and stuff, a lot of people really think about, let's say, their dreams and what they want, but you have to back that up with discipline and the effort and the plan and actually doing the stuff. You don't just dream it and then it happens. You've got to actually do it. You know, talk a bit about just how important the action side of thing is in your life and your inspirations.
Right. I think the action is everything. The reason why most of people they say the law of attraction doesn't work is because they don't believe enough, and the most important, they don't do the work, the action. And I'd say the action is everything, because I remember myself 4 years ago when I was in Italy after finishing my master. I came to London one-way ticket to not have the chance to go back with no friends and poor English, just to come here to become a coach, to take a diploma, to be able to coach and travel around the world and inspire people. So I came here with only 400 euros. That was taking action, knowing no one here. I knew I'm going to something unknown. So I faced my fears. So taking that risk, taking that action towards something that you don't know what's going to happen, but you trust, you have that faith, you believe in yourself. So I came in here 4 years ago, 17 days in a hostel, finished my money, I had to go back. no way to go back because I didn't have a ticket. So I had to sleep in the Victoria station and the tube station for 4 nights. Then I got a job, and I got a job as a disher. Of course, my English wasn't that good enough. So then I started to go to set up goals. I learned a new skill, go to school, learn English. Then slowly building up. But then you have to take that risk. And I believe that when you understand, when you have that vision, you have to build up that vision about yourself. As I told you before, without building that vision, where you want to go and why and how, you will not have the power to take the action. Because dreaming is good, but it's not enough. As you say, that's why most of them, they live in their own, I call it prison dream. Because it's only in your mind. Until you get out of comfort zone and do it, you'll never know how powerful you are. You have to jump out. It's like going out from the airplane, It's the same thing. Knowing that the parachute will may not open. It's the same in life if you want to take your life to the next level. That happened to me. For me, that's why Live, Love, Dream is an inspirational book. Is a book filled up with gold tips, if you want to say that. Because it really helps people with the practical.
Yeah, and I think that's where, because I've read lots of kind of books about goals and inspiration and kind of goal setting. What was really useful about this book is that there were genuine insight, from someone that had gone from hopelessness, really, to a completely different mindset with very practical tips to actually go from one place to another. Let's say, because I know your book is on Amazon, I believe.
Yeah, true.
Where let's say that someone doesn't have, and I thoroughly recommend the book, but let's say they don't have the time to read the book. Can you give us like 2 or 3 practical tips that can move us already in that kind of direction?
Yeah, the first is self-discipline. And regarding to your job, or if you're a freelancer, discipline yourself to do what you have to do every single day. This is the first step, self-discipline. And that will help you so much because you have to do the things that you have to do and take action. When you're disciplined enough and respect yourself enough, you'll do the things. So self-discipline is the first one. The second one, and I say, manage your time and manage your research. Be a good manager. Be a good manager about your thoughts, about your things that you have to do every day. Manage yourself, which is very, very important. Know when to listen, when to speak, when to do the things. So time management, and actually you can't manage time, but you can manage yourself in time and your resources. So self-discipline and time management. And of course, the third one, I coming back to say, writing and reading every single day. That will help you to become knowledgeable and to actually growing up and discover and learn new things every single day, as life is a journey.
And what book would you say, because other than your own, we've plugged your book enough, what book would you say was an inspiration for you? Reading daily is great. Is there one book that really stands out that you feel really made a difference in the direction that your life took?
Yes, it is. I have a favorite book, it's true, except my one. And of course, actually, it's the first one. It's my favorite. It was the Bible. I was in my 16 years old when I first discovered the Bible. A friend of mine gave me a Bible as a book. The first time I read it as a normal book, but the second time, I'm now reading the third time the Bible. The second time I understood it differently. And actually, I have to say that the Bible taught me the biggest lesson in life, how to live my life with passion and how to forgive others and forgive myself, and how actually to love others and love myself, to find unconditional love and forgiveness and compassion for others, and the passion for life that I always speak about. And I think the Bible is a great book to start with, and I think there is one of the most important that I ever read, and then everyone can read it. And it doesn't matter your religion, no matter where you come from, your background, your age, your religion, your faith. No, it doesn't have to do with that. Of course, Bible, I think, is the best book. That helped me for me, and a lot of inspiration I'm taking from the Bible. The biggest prophets and everything I learned from them is a book about geography, history, culture, numbers, maths, physics, and of course, a lot about spirituality and how to develop yourself as a human being and how to live a better life here on earth.
And what is your because obviously you're an inspirational speaker, a motivational speaker. What is your mission in life? What do you want to accomplish? What is it that now gets you out of bed in the morning and is your purpose?
My sole purpose is to inspire young adults to understand who they are and why they're here. At the moment, I'm on a mission to inspire, educate, and empower the next generation of leaders. So I'm on a mission. I opened my own company last December, Raise the World Company. So inspire, educate, empower. And I think these are three key elements for if we want the society to level up. We need more leaders. And I think to invest in young adults before 30s is the best thing that we can do. So my company will provide this kind of educational training around the world. So that is my mission. This is my sole purpose, if I want to say that. Traveling. At the moment, I'm speaking Romanian and Italian. I'm learning Spanish, so to expand my learn new skills and be able to reach more people, to help them out. And actually, my I would say ultimate goal is to raise the world and live in a better place.
So Yunus, tell us again the name of your book and where we can get it from.
Yeah, Live, Love, Dream on Amazon and Waterstone at the moment. And of course, on the 22nd of March, we'll have a book launch officially in a Hilton Hotel in Mayfair from 6 to 9 p.m.
Perfect. Ionut, thank you so much. You've been a fantastic guest, so thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to inspire and serve the community.
And to you at home, thanks for joining me on Modern Mindset. I've been Adam Cox in association with Share Radio. Join me again next week for more.